Las Vegas Raiders owner Mark Davis is here in the press box with Ed Graney and Clay Baker. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic.
Yeah. You released a statement last night, and it was powerful and emotional in what you thought about what had happened and how you wanted to kind of start this conversation nationally. Is it hard to release statements on stuff that seems to keep happening? And when you wanted to say your thoughts, what was paramount in your mind?
Well, I wanted to make sure that they were well thought out. I guess when you talk about making a statement nationally, obviously we did, but I think that where we have to start working is locally on the answers. But this is a very emotionally charged time. I think coupled with the coronavirus right now, we're sitting on a tinderbox anyway, with people being pretty much in their homes for the last 2.5 months, children not being able to go to school. And I think it's been mentally draining on people. And then for something like this to happen, it's a pretty tough time right now.
Mark, can you explain how important it is for your role and maybe other sports owners as well to begin to enact change by bringing together community leaders to come up with solutions to the problem, as you expressed yesterday on ESPN that you've already had conversations with the Nevada Attorney General as well as Clark County Sheriff Joseph Lombardo?
That's right. As I said, that we have to come up with solutions. And I think that starts on the local level. I don't think you can do it any other way. And I reached out to Attorney General Aaron Ford and Sheriff Joe Lombardo, and they were very open to getting together with some of our players and coaches and just starting a discussion. I believe it's important that the Raiders coming to a new market, to a new area, coming to the Valley here, that we start off on the right foot. And I think we can build something really great between the community, the team, and have it flow throughout the community here.
Yeah, you've been very positive about bringing your team here. Obviously, you're excited. Everyone sees the progress of Allegiant Stadium. I remember the groundbreaking, though, and you had the 58 rays of light because of the Harvest Festival shooting. Now this, bring me through that in terms of your feelings about the town of Las Vegas. I mean, to bring the national level to a local, to what you're seeing on the Strip, what you're seeing on Fremont, and how you want to get beyond that with the protests and the looting over the last several days.
Wow. That's a good question there, Ed.
Come on.
No, I got you. I've been here throughout the whole virus situation. So I've been living here in Las Vegas for the last 3 months. And I see the people of Las Vegas rise together in adversity. And it's Vegas strong. And I have no doubt that we will rise from the ashes here and have a shining moment very soon.
Las Vegas Raiders owner Mark Davis here with us on ESPN Las Vegas. Then what do you do when you have frustration from your own players? Because I know that for many years you have been able to at least bridge the gap between the frustration that your players have and to the way they want to go and speak out on their own. What are your thoughts on having players and athletes in your organization go out of their way to go and express their emotions on social media or otherwise?
Well, throughout my youth being around the Raiders and football, I never really saw color. Every year there were new players on the roster, players from the South, some from the Deep South, others from the North, all over the country. I got to see and hear different points of view, all coming together for a common cause, and that was to be a Raider. And back in the day, my father had black and white teammates rooming together in training camp, on the road, and it just was never an issue in being the Raiders. So I sympathize with the players, and when they have something to say, I've always said to them that I'll be there with them, by their side. Initially, last year, now it's not last year, but it was back in 2017, when the kneeling for the national anthem issue was up, I initially told the players that I prefer that they wouldn't speak out against things while they were in Raider uniforms. And I felt that being a Raider was just that. And that if they had something to say and they took off their uniform, they could say something. But certain things happen and in society and in real life, and it made me change my opinion on that. And I felt, I think if the players can make a difference And if they can say something that will bring more discussion around an issue, then it was their right to go ahead and do it.
You, as a young man, you were able to witness the unrest in Oakland and in the Bay Area a long time ago, and you even had Tommy Smith go and light the torch for the Raiders. Did you feel like the community back in Oakland and the Bay Area those years ago, do you think that they did enough to bridge the gap? Because it seems like we're falling into a repeating pattern of generational racism.
I'm not going to blame that on the Bay Area or anywhere else per se. It is something that we've seen. It's, Tommy Smith in 1968 making that statement and everything else. And it just, I still think we're in the same place that we were really when it comes to that. But there's obviously been progress in many areas, but there's so much more progress that needs to be done. I have a lot of good friends on the Oakland Police Force. They have been special people. They really are really good people. And I think, people misunderstand it's us versus them because it's really not. I think police have one of the toughest jobs there is in keeping us safe at all times. And it's sometimes they're being judged by the actions of the few. And I don't think that's fair either. So I give great credit to the police officers in Oakland and the Bay Area. They've been great to us throughout the years. I think that the Metro here and the sheriffs are fantastic people as well. And I'm just so thankful that Sheriff Lombardo and Attorney General Ford are anxious to sit down with us and map out a plan for the future.
You spoke about your father, as you often do. If you're with your father today, what would he say about what's going on? What would he think perhaps a solution might be, as you talked about in your own statement?
Well, again, solutions are tough. It's people. It's real life. It's. I don't know what he would say. He's more of a action kind of guy, and to get things done. And in the long run, that's the way that we want to be as well, that I would like to be. At times, though, you have to bring things out in the open and speak your mind, so to speak, just to get a conversation going. And I think that's what my statement had to do with.
Yep.
And I didn't want to step around the issue. I wanted to step right into it.
You spoke of the pandemic, Allegiant Stadium. We have to bring an update. Bring us up to date on Allegiant Stadium. The pandemic, we know everything's virtual right now. I'm assuming it's your hope that everything's off on time. But how have you been able to deal with going week to week, month to month, with dealing of the uncertainty of what might happen?
Welcome to being a Raider, Ed. That's basically how we live our lives. You think everything's going great, the stadium's on time, everything else, and then all of a sudden real life steps in the way.
Yeah.
And you have to be prepared for those types of issues. As I said, and I'll say it again, the least important thing in life is the score at halftime. And until you get the job done, you just don't know. So when we do that ribbon cutting, you may see me wipe a bead of sweat off my brow.
And Mark, you said in a statement going back to the murder of George Floyd, you said you'd be honest, you were surprised that the resulting violence hasn't been much worse. What do you think is going to happen this week? Because it doesn't seem like the protests are any clearly stopping at any time soon. How do you think this is going to play out, and how effective can pro sports be to help the leaders of several communities start bridging the gap and beginning the lines of communication?
Well, again, you're speaking in a very uncertain time again, because there is no real pro sports going on right now. There's pro sports organizations. So as an organization, we can do a lot. But the fact of sports itself, how it helps with society as a whole, that tool isn't there right now. And that makes it a lot tougher. As I said, to be honest, I'm surprised that resulting violence hasn't been much worse. And that's based on the emotions are high, the temperature being very hot, and static in the air, and coupled with the coronavirus. It's just, as I said earlier, we're in a tinderbox. And I'm not sure that there's any true leaders out there speaking for anybody right now, and even asking what are these protests about, other than to say we need to get justice, obviously, and those things. And I think that on the that side, the protest side, I think they're getting a message across. But who are the leaders? Who are speaking for the people? And then you get late at night, and I don't know who it is that's causing the violence at night. I don't know whether it's other groups that are just in there to incite violence. I don't know. It's a whole new day in the virtual world. It's a virtual protest with actual people in the streets.
I have to ask, if you're jonesing for the WNBA, you're the Jack Nicholson of the Aces, and you're at front to middle court every time. You miss it?
You no doubt about it. I can't wait to see them. Liz, Asia, Kelsey, Kayla. That's just I can't wait till they start playing again. I really do miss it.
Well, these are wonderful thoughts. We read your statement last night and wanted to catch up with you. I know we'll see you often in the next coming months, and hopefully everything will kick off on time, and that stadium will be as beautiful as everyone think it's going to be. So thanks for the few moments, and we
let's
appreciate
hope we can come up with some answers here.
Oh, wonderful stuff. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Mark.
buddy.
See you. Bye.
Bye.